Good evening and welcome to the Garfield Heights City School District's Board of Education. This evening is Monday, May 19th, and I call this meeting to order. Mr. Oko, could I get roll call?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Here.
Ms. Morrison?
Here.
Dr. King?
Here. Could I get a motion to adopt our agenda as present?
So moved.
Second. That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Mrs. Daniels. Is there any discussion? Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. Now if we could take a moment of silent reflection and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I get a motion to approve the minutes from the March 29th special board meeting retreat, the April 7th special board meeting, and the April 14th regular meeting as presented? Is there a second?
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Cox and second by Ms. Morrison. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox? Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. Now we'll move into the board president's report. On behalf of the Board of Education, each member sends through this report their message of congratulations and affirmation to the scholars and families of the Garfield Heights High School Class of 2025. Our annual commencement ceremony is a public recognition of their accomplishments. This gathering always represents what is best and brightest in our Bulldog learning community. We extend our best wishes on your future plans and thank you for the honor and privilege it has been to have you all as a part of our school family. Thank you to Dr. Reynolds, his administrative team, and the entire staff at the Garfield Heights City Schools who will soon complete another school year. Thank you to the individuals in our community who attended the very special celebration at Maple Leaf earlier this month in recognition of its 100th anniversary. The students always make our celebration events the most special, but it was truly amazing to see so many individuals from the community, past and present, reflect with awe and memory upon the legacy of Maple Leaf Elementary School. Great job to Mr. Glazer and Mr. Ferlino for planning such a meaningful event. I would like to thank the volunteers and those who supported the Garfield Heights City Schools with issue 20. Unfortunately, the Garfield City Schools has little choice but to begin making the tough decisions that reflect what a majority in our community has affirmed at the ballot box. Our students are scholars, and from the board's perspective, they deserve the very finest education resources possible. The Board of Education will do our best in working with Dr. Reynolds and the administrative team in order to minimize the impact on our scholars and staff, but please know that there are changes that have consequences on the horizon. We have no choice but to regroup and keep doing our very best to inform others in the community about the strong, positive, and meaningful impact that the Garfield Heights City Schools can and does have on everyone. This concludes my report. Are there any questions on the board's president's report? All right, we'll move into committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
Madam President,
Ms. Thomas?
I do have a report from CVCC.
Yes, ma'am?
During our April CVCC board meeting, we received reminders of our May events. We hosted our outstanding student reception and senior recognition over 2 days at our CVCC campus. We also hosted National Signing Day on May 5th. Our board meeting for this month will be this Thursday, and we will be hosting our student and staff recognition ceremony where we highlight students who have placed in national and state competitions. We will host our regular board meeting afterwards. Our last day for seniors was May 8th. Our superintendent, Dave Mangus, has been nominated as ACTE's president-elect. He has one competitor. All school boards are allowed to vote. Our very own Brandon Gibson will be competing nationally at Skills USA. We had students last month who visited Magnet and attended the Northeast Ohio Business Career Fair. And special thanks to our career specialist, Ms. Michelle Hassman, for organizing these amazing outreach events. We got a presentation from our Sales and Service and Transition to Work program. Mindy and Lynn are doing amazing work with our students. I would like to share that they are always looking for jobs and activities for our students. They are able to assemble products, gifts, binders, and an array of other production needs. They share some insights from their community-based experiences. We have students who serve at a variety of places, including Vegan Lizard, Med Wish, Heinen's, Girls on the Run, Bob Evans, Fastenal, El Neek, and Innovation Foods. We also got a report from our Building and Grounds Committee. There's a lot of construction happening that has plans of being completed before the end of 2025. Our April Student Spotlight was Alicia R. Scott. She is a senior in our Graphic Imaging Technology program. Although it was her third program choice, she shared that she is happy that this program turned out to be exactly what she needed. As a homeschool student, she wanted to experience a public school setting before college. She struggled at first, but the program helped her build her confidence in ways she never expected. She will be attending Tri-C in the fall to pursue a career in clinical social work. She has a passion for advocating for children. At CVCC, she has learned skills that will stay with her as she hopes to do creative work on the side. Outside of CVCC, she is deeply rooted in her faith and enjoys writing poetry and styling hair. Keep shining bright, and good luck to Alicia. That concludes my report.
Are there any questions for Ms. Thomas on her report? All right, are there any other committee reports? I have a wellness report. The boys volleyball team had their inaugural varsity boys volleyball season that had a strong start, culminating in a trip to the Division II regional tournament. The team showed great progress and determination before falling to Independence High School. The baseball team will face Uniontown Lake in the state tournament next week. With 5 wins so far this season, the most our program has earned in several years. This group has demonstrated remarkable growth and resilience. Our inaugural girls flag football season was a tremendous success. The team finished with only 1 loss all year, ultimately falling in the second round of the Cleveland Browns Northeast Ohio tournament. Their performance has set a strong foundation for the future of the program. The softball team had an impressive season, finishing second in the LEL, our highest conference placement in several years. The season concluded with a hard-fought loss to Cleveland Heights in the state tournament. Our track and field team is aiming to finish the season strong as they compete in the district tournament next week. We are optimistic that several of our athletes will advance to the regional level and potentially beyond. That concludes my report. Are there any questions about the wellness report? Are there any other committee reports? All right, hearing that there are no other reports, we're going to change up our agenda just a little bit and move our recognitions and commendations to before our presentation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Reynolds.
Real quick, Dr. King. We need a motion. Yeah.
Can I get a motion to move our recommendations, our recognitions and commendations to before our presentations?
So moved.
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Daniels and second by Ms. Thomas. Can I get roll call, Mr.
Mrs.
Rocco?
Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Cox, Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
do we need to vote on these prior to the presentation?
Yes, they are resolutions. We
Okay.
can vote one by one if
So
you like.
could I get a motion to approve Resolution 2521 recognizing Marcus Johnson for Ohio, Mr. Basketball Ohio 2025?
So moved. Second?
That was moved by Ms. Cox and second by Ms. Daniels. Could I get roll call?
Ms. Cox,
Yeah.
Mrs. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes. Could we get a motion to approve Resolution 2522 for Matthew Thompson, Stop the Hate Teacher of the Year?
So moved.
Second?
That was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. Morrison. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Ms. Cox,
Yeah.
Mrs. Daniels,
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes. And could I get a motion to approve Resolution 25-26, Stop the Hate, Kara Miller?
So moved. Second?
That was moved by Ms. Cox and second by Ms. Daniels. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox,
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes. Now I'll turn it over to Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Madam President. I will be presenting Resolution 2025-21, recognizing Marcus Johnson as the winner of Mr. Basketball of Ohio 2025. Whereas Marcus Johnson, a student athlete at Garfield Heights High School, has demonstrated exceptional skill, determination, and leadership as a member of the Bulldog varsity basketball team. And whereas through tireless dedication, excellent athletic excellence, and exemplary sportsmanship, Johnson has earned the distinguished honors of receiving the Mr. Basketball of Ohio, one of the most prestigious recognitions in high school basketball. And whereas this achievement is the result of years of hard work, discipline, and relentless pursuit of excellence, both on and off the court, inspiring teammates, coaches, and the broader school community. And whereas Marcus not only excelled in athletic performance, but also represented Garfield Heights High School with integrity, humility, and commitment to academic and personal growth. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Garfield Heights Board of Education on the day of May 19, 2025 does hereby recognize and commend Marcus Johnson for his outstanding accomplishment as a recipient of the 2025 Mr. Basketball of Ohio and celebrates his contribution to the legacy of excellence at Garfield Heights High School. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution will be presented to Marcus Johnson in honor of his remarkable achievement and bright future ahead. Presented this May 19, 2025 by the Garfield Heights Board of Education. Let's give Mr. Marcus Johnson a hand. Mr. Johnson. And we'd like to get some pictures. Yes. Thank you, sir. Right here. How you doing, man? Good. How you doing? And after the pictures, we're going to give him a chance to recognize his family, and everyone in the room has always been supportive of him. Oh, come on in, come on in. Yeah, I'm about to say, I'm trying not to stand behind him right there. And I'd like to, if his family could come up as well, get some pictures of the family. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you gotta get these guys too.
There we go. Perfect. Oh God, look how cute that is.
Congratulations to the Johnson family. Next, I'll be reading Resolution 2025-22, recognizing Matthew Thompson as the Stop the Hate Teacher of the Year. Whereas Matthew Thompson, an educator at Garfield Heights Middle School, has demonstrated unwavering dedication to fostering an inclusive, equitable, and respectful learning environment for all his students. And whereas Thompson has shown exceptional leadership in promoting anti-bias education by integrating diverse perspectives, encouraging critical conversations, and in actively challenging prejudice and discrimination in all forms. Whereas, as efforts have empowered students to value empathy, embrace diversity, and become thoughtful, social responsible members of the community. Whereas Thompson has served as a role model and advocate among colleagues by offering professional guidance, organizing equity-focused initiatives, and contributing to the development of school-wide policies that promote belonging and justice. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Garfield Heights Board of Education on the date of May 19, 2025 does hereby recognize and commend Matthew Thompson for his outstanding commitment to anti-bias education and his transformative impact on the school community. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Matthew Thompson in honor of his visionary leadership, compassionate teaching, dedication to principles of equity and inclusion, presented on May 19, 2025 by the Garfield Heights Board of Education. Let's give Mr. Matthew Thompson a hand. He's not here tonight. In his absence, we'll accept.
Thank you.
And now I'll be reading Resolution 2025-26, recognizing Kara Miller as the winner of the 2025 Stop the Hate Poetry Contest. Whereas Kara Miller, a student at Garfield Heights High School, has demonstrated outstanding talent, creativity, and dedication in the literacy arts through the submission of her original poetic work. And whereas her poem, titled Mammy, stood out among numerous entries for its exceptional expression, emotional depth, and mastery of language. And whereas Kara has been selected as the recipient of the prestigious Stop the Hate Scholarship, awarded to a student who exemplifies excellence in poetry and commitment to artistic growth. And whereas the achievement reflects not only personal dedication and skill, but also brings pride and recognition to Garfield Heights High School, her educators, peers, and broader community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Garfield Heights Board of Education on the date of May 19, 2025 does hereby recognize and commend Kara Miller for her exemplary accomplishment as the winner of the 2025 Stop the Hate Poetry Contest and extends his heartfelt congratulations and best wishes for continued success in all future academic and creative endeavors. Be it further resolved that a copy of the resolution be presented to Ms. Kara Miller as a symbol of our admiration and support. Presented on May 19, 2025 by the Garfield Heights Board of Education. Please give a hand for Kara Miller. And again, we will accept this award for Kara Miller as well.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Ms. Thomas?
may I make a recommendation?
Yes, ma'am?
I would like to make a recommendation that we amend our agenda to show item 6.3 as resolution 2025-2026. Might have just been a small typo. But
Yes, to take the 6 out. Could I get well, you made a
made
motion.
a motion to amend the agenda.
Could I get a second?
Second.
The motion on the floor is to amend 6.3 to read resolution 25-26 and take the 6 out. That was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. Daniels. Could I get roll call?
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Cox,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. And now we will go back to our presentation, which is number 5, and I will turn the floor over to Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight we'll be hearing an update from our Human Resources Department. There have been changes over the last couple of years and structures put in place that allowed us to better respond to the needs of our building in regards to personnel and any issues that have come across. So she's done an excellent job, and we'll be hearing an update from the Human Resources Department.
Thank you.
The machine set up this year for first place.
Oh, yeah.
Forward and backwards. No, you're good.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, Board of Education. My name is Sasha Pettigrew. I'm the Human Resources Director. So before I start my Human Resources update, I would like to take some time to recognize our teachers who are retiring this year. Some of them have been here for over 30 years. They've been here, but 1995, I think I was just graduating high school at that time, but they were starting their career here. So at this time, I would just like to recognize them. Some of them are here in the audience. So if you are here, please stand up so we can recognize you. And then, and we will also be recognizing you on June 5th at our last PD day as well in front of your peers. So we have Teresa Pelly, the Summers, Kenneth Carterman, Bobby Marksberry, Suzanne Mallett. Suzanne is here. Nora Lopez, who is also here. Kim Barber, Jody Randall, Andrew Hart, Sherry Pastor, who's also here, and Kylie Davis and Nikki Rose. So again, thank you so much for your hard work, your dedication to the children and families at Garfield Heights City Schools. Without you, we cannot be here or continue to be successful. So thank you again. All right, now on to the Human Resources update. So, but again, can we just give them a round of applause? Thank you. All right, so the goals. So for Human Resources, at the beginning of this school year, I set the goals for our department. So some of our goals, as Dr. Reynolds said, last year coming in was the focus on creating structures and procedures. I would say that we definitely have done that throughout last year, but this year I wanted to focus on the next set of goals. One was to create a performance evaluation tool for all classifications. Last year we created one for the classified staff, but this year we now created one for our administrators as well. So now everyone has a voice, everyone now has a performance evaluation tool to see how they're doing to continue to grow. We also create a self-evaluation tool. I thought that was important because, again, the performance evaluation tool, the supervisor is just pretty much gauging off your performance based on their evidence, but with a self-evaluation tool, you have a voice. You can actually point out some of the great things that you have achieved, but also some areas that you would like to continue to improve on. So we have been receiving a lot of feedback from staff stating that they really appreciate the self-evaluation tool because, again, they now get to work with their supervisor so they can continue to grow and develop. Another goal is to strengthen the employee engagement and retention, and the next one to decrease absenteeism, and then also to right-sizing the staffing. So I will talk about each one of these goals throughout the presentation. Okay, so for retention this year, some initiatives that we put in place was department spotlights each month. We were able to truly highlight each department, from our secretaries to our paraprofessionals to our security staff to our teachers. Next month in June, we're recognizing our administrators, so they would not feel left out as well. But we were able to recognize each department. We brought them together. We were able to meet with them. Somehow we were able to hear stories. We were able to give them little tokens of appreciation as well. But just to let them know that yes, we're a school district, but we're all one puzzle. We all play an important role in the puzzle into making sure our students are successful. Another thing that we did was service award. This was in November. We were able to recognize all employees who've been here 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So they all received a service pin. And it was a cute pin, just providing them with their service. So something that they can wear like a badge of honor, that they can wear and they can be proud of Garfield Heights City Schools. Another initiative was holistic development. So holistic development, of course, we know that employees come here, some people come here for money, but we really just want to make sure we are developing you from the whole person. So we are working on we had a wellness event, which was really great this year as well. During our wellness event, we didn't just talk about wellness, we talked about financial wellness. We also talked about, we had someone here for fitness. We also had someone here about STRS, retirement planning. But again, that is our goal. We also partner with Be Well Solutions this year, where we were able to offer our employees biometric screenings, so that they will be able to see your cholesterol levels. They'll be able to see if you are at a risk for a stroke or heart attack. We are also able to offer COVID shots, flu shots. So again, that's our goal, to make sure that we are developing you from the holistic approach. We also, this year, I did new employee check-in. So it was really important to me that to speak with every new hire, to see how was your experience so far? How can we continue to grow and improve? And then as a district, what do we need to improve on? So I received a lot of great feedback. Also ways that, again, how we can improve, but also some things that they feel like we should keep for next year. Attendance contest. So we were able to do perfect attendance contest or spring into attendance. Our winner this year was Maple Leaf, who won last year. So we have Mr. Glazer and his team. We also did a perfect attendance where we were looking at staff who had worked at least 90% of the year during that time. And we were able to give them 2 Cavs tickets. It was like with the lower bowl, really great seats. So we did have a couple employees that were able to receive that, as well as Amazon gift cards. So again, as I said, one of our goals was to decrease the absence rates. So this was some of the initiatives that we did. And then also transparent communication with staff. Just let them know truly where we're at and then how we can continue to support. So the absence trends. So I wanted to show you this because, again, it's not the best, but we are making improvement. So it's baby steps, but I believe next year we're going to continue to get better. But I just want to be, again, this is transparent communication. Okay. So as you can see, that right here, so this is 2023-24, and the next one out here is 24-25. They're by the month. So in August, everyone is excited. So those are your lowest. So you see that we had a total of 203 absences. And these are just at hours. So this is not total people, these are at hours. But again, as you can see, in May, it went down to 855. People are burnt out, they're tired. So this right here was the total of the field rates. And another reason I'm showing you this too is because we did go to a new substitute agency where we were with Wren Hill. Now we changed over to OSTS for this school year. So our sub rates, our field rates are getting better, but again, they're not the greatest, so we're still showing improvement. But again, as you can see, the attendance is getting better. So it was 203 at the beginning of August of last year. Beginning of August this year was 129. So that's showing it's getting better. So again, if I go down to December, we're 417. Yeah. Okay. So December of this year, it was 475. So that December did go up. But as you can see in May, where it was 855, this year May was 646. So we're getting better. We have lots of work to do, but we are getting better. But I just want to just kind of just show you that with some of our initiatives, with also changing some of the leadership with the buildings as well, making sure that our teachers feel supported. People are wanting to come to work. And we are recognizing that there are times where you have burnout as well. But at those times, that's when we're trying to really make sure that we're there to support them as well and recognize the burnout. So again, this is just to show that we're getting better. So this is just progress. I know it's not the best, but we will, I believe next year it's going to continue to get better. Okay, so this is the slide I'm sure everyone would like to see, their current state of staffing. So currently, we have certified teachers, 252, classified 126 workers, non-union will be 120. What we're doing, so as you all are aware, unfortunately, we did not pass our levy at this time. So what we're doing is we're trying to truly right-size the staffing. We're not filling all of the positions that we're losing, so that would allow us to truly make sure that we are properly staffing our students based on our enrollment numbers as well. By saying that, is that we are doing priority staffing this year. So everyone that's leaving, that will be leaving, we're not going to replace all those positions. However, we're going to look at our priorities. So currently, we have 8 open teacher positions, and our first priority is our intervention specialist. So those are the positions that we are filling first, that we have to fill. Then from there, we are going to go to our core subjects, so that would be your secondary math, your secondary science, and then the other core. And then our last priority will be encores or electives for the high school. We also have 8 non-certified positions. So we do have, which is really good, we only have 8. That number can balloon because that encompasses like all of your operational. So that encompasses like your food service, your bus drivers, your bus aides, security officers. So right now we have 8, and those are mainly all open in the transportation department. And then we have a couple of food service. We have 4 administrator positions, and when I'm saying administrators, it's truly, so we have the high school principal, so that is one of the administrator positions, and then the other 3 are school psychologists that we are looking to fill. This year, we have 21 teacher administrators resignations, that's as of today. So we know that people are going to be sending more, but as of today, this is where we're currently at. And then we have 13 teacher and administrator retirements, which you just saw. So that's our current state of staffing as of today. I wanted to show you these couple slides. So one of the things that that HR did this year is we did an employee engagement survey. We asked them just several questions about job satisfaction. We asked them questions about communication, just what motivates them to come to work. So I just have a couple slides that I would like to share. And the reason why I'm sharing this again, because we're transparent. We know that we have some ways to go as well. But with job satisfaction, so we had 152 people complete the survey. So out of those 152 people, you can see the satisfied is at the highest. And then of course, we do have some that are, the other ratings. But I would say, but for the people that completed, most of them are stating that they are satisfied with their job. Some key factors contributing to job satisfaction. So based on this is where some of my next slide, where my goals for next year are gonna come from. So you're gonna see someone with support from colleagues. So we're just trying to now build and see like, how can we do peer-to-peer support? How can we do peer-to-peer mentor? Like really trying to pair new teachers, but not even just new teachers to education, but new teachers to the district. How can we pair you now with a veteran teacher or a seasoned teacher? But just peer-to-peer, make sure they have that buddy teacher system. Also compensation and benefits. We know that would definitely come, we pass those school levies, so we just continue to, be able to pay more, so we know that would come. But that is one of the contributing factors. Work environment, work-life balance. Again, this is very important. We do offer a lot of employee perks to our employees as well. We work with a company called Working Advantage that provides them with employee perks to literally any entertainment medium. So that can be concert tickets, hotels, rental cars. So we do offer that, as well as we offer the holistic approach as well. So our wellness events, making sure that we have the COVID vaccines, the flu shots. So that's what we're doing to the work-life balance. Job security, recognition and achievements, and also professional development opportunities. So working closely with teaching and learning department, making sure that our staff can be able to take advantage of professional development opportunities. So this last slide was likelihood to recommend a school district as a workplace. So as you can see, the highest one was neutral. But we do I feel like we're still growing. I feel like when I came here a couple years ago, I feel like it would have been all unlikely. But it's not there. I feel like we are growing. I feel like people are feeling supported, and I feel like people are recommending Garfield as a workplace. And doing the new employee check-ins, I met with over 20 new hires, and all of them, they kind of gave us a range between 7 to 10. Where they stating that they do, but they were very transparent and honest too, stating the different supports that other people may need. All right, so now on to the goals. So these are the goals for human resources for 25-26. It is to be a premier workplace. Again, we know that we have some work to do. However, I feel like we are moving in the right direction. To retain 95% of the staff. That number is very important because if right now with right size in the district, I really feel that we continue to build these supports, put the supports in place, have that shared voice, have that mentorship. I believe we can really get people to stay here. Focus on shared voice and professional growth opportunities. Again, working with teaching and learning department to see what we can do to better support. Creating an Aspiring Leaders program. And doing a survey that came out, we have a lot of people that are teachers, but again, we know that they would like to go to become an administrator, to start working in central office. So creating an Aspiring Leaders program that will provide those opportunities. Create succession plans. We have some great employees that, again, that we know that they're in one position, but we know that instead of for them to go out and seek their professional goals, that they will stay here. So create a succession plan. So for our secretaries, moving them now to a higher level of a secretary position. When we know that someone is about to retire in 2 years, in 3 years, start working on a plan now instead of getting here where they're now retired and we don't have anyone to fill those positions. So really just start developing succession plans. Update the HR website and communication, so working with the technology team and making sure that we have a great website. And then communication, that was one of the feedback from the survey. So creating a human resources newsletter so employees can feel connected. We can also, just highlight, share birthdays, share different milestones as well with our employees. And then lastly, have successful negotiation with both collective bargaining agreements. So those are the goals for next school year. And that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Pettigrew? I have a comment and a question. Thank you very much for including feedback and a self-survey for the evaluations. We find that that's helpful when we evaluate the superintendent and the treasurer to get their feedback. And then, as a board, we are able to say, oh yeah, forgot they did this, forgot this happened. And it really helps us better evaluate the both of them. So thank you for including the staff's voice. My question for one of your goals, your first goal was to be a premier workplace. How are you going to measure whether or not we're a premier workplace?
So just again, probably start off with another survey, but also kind of looking at comparison school districts, but then, looking at comparison school districts, but then also just really just to try to see, because premier can be different for different organizations. So maybe even kind of starting off to find what is premier, what does that look like for us? Working with our cabinet, our senior level team to all try to see what does that look like for us, and then kind of go from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you. Amazing presentation. Thank you for all of the information. I feel like it was very transparent. In the employee satisfaction survey that you all completed, you said you had 152 completed surveys.
Yes.
Was that just sent out to teachers?
No.
Or to everyone?
This was sent to everyone, so all our employees. That's one of the things that trying to debunk, just having like teacher-centric, but really making sure everyone feels included.
Any other questions for Ms. Pettigrew?
Madam President,
Mrs. Daniels?
thank you for the wonderful presentation. I think it's just more of a comment or maybe a question. With the retention piece, do you think I know that you guys only could do with so much as an organization, but will it help us to retain quality staff when the staff feels like they're working in a community that is more supportive of the school district? I mean, do you see us not passing levies and things of that sort kind of impacting us being able to recruit and retain quality staff?
To be honest with you, yes. I definitely think that we have to, so I know that I was able to speak with a couple of the ladies at the city. So do think that we need to form that partnership better with the city and just other community members. So then that way, the community can actually see the good work that the district is doing, but also allowing the staff to see the community as well. But to answer your question, yes, I do think passing on school levies will definitely help us be able to retain, because that, a lot of times when you don't pass on, that's uncertainty for the teacher.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments for Ms. Pettigrew? All right, great, thank you.
Well, thank you
Ms.
so much
Pettigrew.
for the opportunity.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Ms.
much, great
Oh,
presentation.
just one last thing, remember this is, we are doing exit interviews with all the staff that are leaving, so we will be having exit interviews.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Move to 7.1, which is our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of everyone at Garfield High City Schools, I extend a word of congratulations to the graduating class of 2025 from the Garfield Heights High School, who graduate at our annual commencement ceremony on Thursday, May 29th. Your hard work and dedication has helped you to arrive at this point. Your perseverance during the final few months of school to maintain your grades, finish your year-end exams, and make decisions about your respective futures demonstrate your growth. Congratulations to your families for your strong layer of support that you've upheld for your graduates, providing encouragement, a word of advice, some tough love when needed, and helping your students to endure the final stretch of their educational journey is a testament to the families that we have right here in this community. So all the best to your future endeavors, and remember, once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog, and congratulations. Garfield Heights City Schools is on a quest to affirm STEM and STEAM strengths in our students from K to 12, and a few outstanding examples have taken place over the last few weeks worth sharing with our community. First, the middle school students recently visited Cedar Point to help celebrate STEM Week and place themselves in the midst of practical physics, engineering, and technology skills. What better place than at America's roller coaster? I don't ride roller coasters, just so you know. They're tougher than me. But Cedar Point, while the middle school students and their advisors had great practical, hands-on scientific learning experiences, which focused on geometry, physics, and more. This is a perfect example of where we're going in our school district when we're talking about STEAM. In addition, the middle school performing arts students recently had a chance to sing, perform, and take a tour of Baldwin Wallace, and even eat in the dining facilities as a way to see college-level activities as they go on there. Garfield Heights has dedicated themselves or ourselves to STEAM, as we've always talked about. And for those who don't really know what STEAM is, it is science, technology, engineering, and math. And in the classrooms, we're trying to ensure that kids have a lot more hands-on activities, things that are a lot more relevant for who they are as students. And that is where the direction that we're going as a school district. Just to highlight one of the things, that I'm way off script right now, just to highlight one of the things that's happening right now. We're working with various departments to bring in our AG program. And our AG program is another aspect of STEAM where kids will be engaged. And as we saw this firsthand here last summer, and that's where we started developing that idea, working with our not only teaching and learning, but also our academic excellence department or educational advancement. We've done a lot of great things, and we're also making sure that we're placing those teachers in place who have a passion for this thing. And I think that we made an awesome choice to really push this effort. So we are looking forward to it. So keep up the great work, everyone who's been involved in pushing the STEAM program. And also congratulations to the class of 2025 once again. And by the way, my daughter is also a part of the class of 2025. Yes, she graduated from Spelman College yesterday. And I was just flying in, so I apologize for scooting in so quickly. I just got off the plane and dropped my family off, but I'm very proud of her, and she's done an excellent job. So thank you all.
All right, we'll move on to, are there any questions for Dr. Reynolds and his report? All right, we'll move on to 8.1, remarks from the public regarding agenda items. All meetings of the board and board-appointed committees are open to the public. In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation may be permitted at each meeting. Each person addressing the board shall give his or her name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person is allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had an opportunity to do so. Persons desiring more time should follow the procedure of the board to be placed on the regular agenda. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board present and voting. Agendas are available to all those who attend board meeting. The section on the agenda for public participation shall be indicated. Noted at the bottom of each agenda shall be a short paragraph outlining the board's policy on public participation at board meetings. So we do have one person that'd like to speak on agenda items, and that's Ms. Joni Wonderstock.
Don't start till after I say my info. No. Joni Wanderstock, 10905 Mount View Avenue, Garfield Heights, Ohio. I got notes, but I don't need them. As soon as I saw Johnson on the board agenda, I knew that there was no way I was not going to be able to say something. Those of you that know me know my love and affection for this family. I have had many honors in my life, but none could surpass being the godmother of one of the Johnson children. Most of you here know Marcus solely because of his phenomenal presence on a basketball court, but I needed you to know that Marcus is just so much more than that. I had the honor of inducting Marcus into the Honor Society last year. Most of you were there and saw that. He's a conscientious student. He's kind. He's so focused on things. I think I probably knew when he was about 3 that his talent was just exceptional. He is raised in a family. I know you all know Sonny, but this is a family that has adopted me. And his mother that was sitting here is just absolutely incredible. This is a kid that doesn't smoke, drink, cuss, none of that stuff. He always gives the glory to God. If you've ever heard him interview, that's the first thing that comes out of his mouth. I think what is so exceptional about Marcus, all his character traits, I could be here for days talking about him. But what sets Marcus apart from anyone I've ever seen at this level of achievement is his humbleness. I tell people all the time, I really believe he doesn't have a clue how good he is. We go to games. I don't care where I'm at. If I'm wearing a Garfield Heights basketball thing, somebody stops me, do you know Marcus Johnson? And I say, yes. and then I feel like a celebrity. But we went to a game in Warrensville, one of Michi's games, and I came in, and Marcus is in the corner taking pictures with all these kids. So I went over and said, oh, you want a group picture? And I'm snapping their pictures and everything. And this went on for about 15, 20 minutes. And then I gave the kids back the camera, and I go back, and these mothers are calling me over, and they're like, oh, man, that's Marcus Johnson. And they're like, they could not get over how patient, how kind, whatever combination of kids wanted a picture, he did it. And then what Marcus will do is he will post it on his Instagram account so they get a little notoriety. I mean, that speaks volumes for the kind of kid that he is. And I guess I just really felt it was important so that you know that he's much more than a basketball player, because long after his basketball days are over, he's going to be an amazing kid. And with the foundation he has, his dad was I was around when his dad was a student. His dad was the same way. His mother is incredible. She's a highly regarded school administrator. His siblings were here. His brother led the way because he was a great basketball player too. So he's surrounded by the love that you don't see very often. And no matter what time of day you go to that house, it's just filled with people, love, camaraderie, the whole bit. And I guess I just felt that it was really important for you to know he's so much more than a basketball player. And obviously I love him. So anyway, and I also want to put a shout out to Suzanne, Nor, and Sherry. Congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. We're losing a lot of incredible people in this district, and I wish you guys best luck.
Thank you.
Right there.
Thank you, Ms. Wonderstock. Now we'll go to 9.1. Could I get a motion to, let me see. I've got to do 9.3 by
We gotta-
itself.
Probably gonna do all
All
of
of
them
it
by
by
itself. Yeah.
All right, so could I get a motion to approve the financials for April 2025?
So moved. Second.
That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Could I get any discussion?
Yeah,
You have your, you've got your
I have
actual
the forecast.
presentation.
Yeah,
Okay.
but April's, it's usually a pretty tame month for us. Same thing. If you, the board report, we'll see it's a normal 2-pay month. Grants are 67% expended and reimbursed at this time. And the only difference, again, is that change in revenue from year to year, but we will talk about that when I do the forecast.
Any questions for Mr. Oko in regards to the April financials? If no questions, could I get, that was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Could I get roll call?
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. And could I get a motion to approve the resolution 2025-18, which is to approve the 5-year forecast?
So moved.
Second. That was moved by Ms. Cox and second by Mrs. Daniels. Discussion, I'll let Mr. Oka do his presentation.
All right. The wonderful Board of Education, our administrative staff, friends. It's time of year where I get to bore you for 20 minutes about our forecast. No. What's that?
It's gonna be interesting today.
It's going to be a good one. So this is our statutorial May forecast update. So obviously we did the one in March, was an optional. This is our district forecast for May. We have to do this twice a year, November and May. This is our May one. So as always, we do this for what reasons? A, Ohio Revised Code makes us do it. B, it's important to understand the district finances. And C, arguably the most important of the three, it is to be transparent with the community about how we spend our money and how we bring in revenue as a public subdivision school district. So let's talk about where we are today. And I just want to make a quick note with everybody. This forecast that we do today will be completely different tomorrow and the day after. It is a snapshot of what variables we have in hand at the moment that we put it together. So as you can see here, projected general fund revenue 47.3 million, expenditures 50.4, projected loss for the year, deficit spend of negative 3.083 million. This should not be a surprise, as this was the same exact look we had in March when we filed the optional. Again, as being transparent as the community school district, public school district, we have to understand how we got from November of 2024 to May of 2025, and how we went from a surplus to a deficit, and what factors can we control to make sure that doesn't happen moving forward. So, with that, that's our current fiscal year projected financial analysis with 10 months into the fiscal year 2025. Where does our money come from? 56% comes from the states, 41 local taxes. You'll see that that doesn't have federal funds included in this. So if we included federal and state funds, that would bump us up to about 63-64%, but this is just general fund money. Projected state funding is $26.6 million. That is the Fair School Funding Plan that's current in law. Restricted state funding, which includes DPIA, which is our restricted disadvantaged school student, impoverished school money, special education, CTE, gifted, ELL. State share of local taxes, that is the 12.5% our community pays, the state pays on behalf of our community members on the levies that are on the books. The homestead rollback exemptions are the state share of local taxes. Our local taxes are Class 1 and Class 2 property taxes and public utility property taxes. Those are pipelines. Anything First Energy builds here is PUPP is what we call it. You can see that we get the majority of our local taxes from real estate, and we are 79% residential in Garfield Heights. So let's talk a little bit more about how we are funded. You can see here that we are majority state funded, and in 2024, that was a larger bar, state funding versus real estate. By 2029, we will be getting closer to 50-50. And what does that mean for us? You can see on the left, the bar graph shows that our funding starts to decrease significantly. Why is that? Well, the county is going to readjust our millage. We all know this. So you'll see a significant drop here in 26, 27, 28, and then they'll do another reappraisal then. On top of that, whatever funding proposal comes from the state legislature that is not a full phase-in of the Fair School Funding Plan, and what I mean full by, base cost input and 100% phase-in will automatically put the onus of funding on our local taxpayers. There is no version that gives relief to our taxpayers in Garfield Heights other than the Fair School Funding Plan being fully phased in. So what does it take to hit that $8,809, I believe it is, local share? Our property taxpayers contribute $2,409 per student. State share is $5,680, I believe. Again, significantly state funded, heavily formula as of today. Okay. This is very important for us as a school district, our millage and our impact. And what is the story for our school district? We do not have any continuing operating levies over the 20 mil floor. We run emergency levies in the school district. So what does that mean? Every 5 or 10 years, we have to go back and get them renewed. Why is that important? The strategy about 20 years ago in this school district, and this is in the eye transparency for all, is that the district started putting renewal levies on emergency levies because every 3-6 years, property reappraisals automatically would drive down millage rates per House Bill 920 that was passed in 1976. Now, Garfield Heights, as we all know, took a 55% property reevaluation rate, reappraisal rate last year. So you can see tax year 2022, district class 1, which is our homeowners, $277 million. Tax year 2023, $418 million. Significant jump. 4th highest in the state of Ohio for this class of reappraisal. So, right below that, effective class with reappraisals. In tax year 2022, we levied operating 24.25 effective mills to our taxpayers. What does that mean? We're above the 20 mil floor, so if the rates were to, reappraisals were to go higher, the rates would drop with it. It can only drop to 20. So now, you'll see in the purple boxes, outside millage adjusted for cap, we are at 13.76. If you add in the 4.86 inside mills, which the county automatically levies on behalf of Garfield Heights, we're at 18.62. We are now statutorily under the 20 mil floor, which means we will levy 20 mills, regardless of what happens, unless a financial crisis of the likes of 2008 happens again, in which case millage would reverse. That's our story. And that's something that we all need to be educated about, is that we have hit the 20 mil floor. This was the strategy 20 years ago. We just ran the cycle early. We would have hit it in 3 years instead of now. We took one of the largest, again, reappraisals. That's why we're there. So, it is unfortunate that it happened at this time with being in the emergency cycle that we are with levies, but that is a strategy for which we put emergency levies on to be, renewed every 5 or 10 years. That's our story for that, and it's important to know that that's going to be our story moving forward as the state auditors and the state legislature looks at cutting the 30% cash balance in the budget that we talk about. So, state aid, fair school funding plan, a guarantee cut, enrollment. Currently, there are so many variables in the budget bill downstate that there's nothing telling us which budget language to use in our forecast. We opted to use the current language that's in the now Senate chamber that was passed out of the House, which is the House Bill 96 numbers. But you can see here, it does not take into account any fair school funding phase-in, and our district educated enrollment has a trend that's going towards a guarantee. What's a guarantee? It means that we will not get any money less than we did in 2020. You would think the year before, but no, it's 2020, fiscal year 2020. That's 2028. So you see that $18.012 million in 2028. That is our fiscal year 2020 revenue guarantee that we would hit. That's just by the trend in educated enrollment. Now, we talk about a guarantee cut. They're talking about cutting the guarantee. That's not projected in here, but if that were to happen, we'd have to do a whole nother forecast, because in 28, 29, that would be cut by 5% in 28, 10% in 29. It is no good scenario that would affect us positively, except for a full fair school funding phase in. Our enrollment's a bigger issue, and that's one that we have to look at internally and look at it seriously. The trend there does not lead us into a direction for which we can sustain long-term financially. Hitting the guarantee is not an option for a school district like us. We need to do as much as we can to not hit the guarantee. It's extremely difficult to get off guarantees once you're on it. All right, so we're going to jump to expenditure. 74% of our total expenditure cost is in personnel, salaries, benefits, purchase services 17%, all other expenditures 9%. Now usually we look at 80% being personnel costs. Our special ed costs have been significantly higher this year, and that has attributed to a higher purchase service. So as we would have more, in theory, we would have more on-staff school psychologists, for example. We had to go out and use contracted services for it. That's why it shifts some of the expenditures over into that purchase service bucket. But you can see here, salaries, $27.1 million, benefits, $10.1 million, purchase services, $8.6 million, and all other expenditures, transfers, supplies, capital, buses, vehicles, $4.5 million total for this fiscal year. So where do we spend our money? Let's talk about it. There's been a lot of questions about the fiscal practice of this school district. We have not been on the ballot in 12 years. We have spent our money as well as we could, and we're under the 30% cash balance that the state legislature is looking at. So where do we spend it? Again, you can see 53.78% on salaries, 20.08% on benefits. We spend our money on people. We are a people, political subdivision. We educate children. That is what we do, is what we spend our money on. You'll see the significant drop in salaries, benefits as forecast runs through, and we'll talk about why that is. Total expenditures, talk about salaries. So we all know that the state put us into fiscal precaution. They told us we had to come up with a way to either A, raise revenue, or B, lower expenditures. We, A, could not put anything on the ballot to raise taxes, and we can't raise taxes ourselves. And we're losing enrollment, so what do? We have to restructure our district to make sure that we can be sustainable moving forward. You'll see in fiscal 26, that is the effect of the reductions that we have put in front of you guys today. So it's a significant drop. And then of course, every year we kind of have that little step forward, step up You see about a 2% increase every year. That's the same with benefits. It's a correlating effect, right? We reduce salaries, benefits will reduce, but at some point, those will start making up over time via wage increases, step increases, and just things getting more expensive in general. Inflation is the silent killer of school districts and political subdivisions. Purchase services, again, you'll see 2020, 2021, we throw those years out because back then we were taking in we were accountable for students coming into the district for charter schools, and then we pay it out on the back end. Obviously, that's no longer in law, but you'll see that it's a significant step up. 24 to 25, large increase again, significant increase on health services and special education. Things that arguably we have no choice but to honor, especially if we have open enrolled students coming from Cleveland Metro School District with fully written IEPs that we have to honor. And that's been the case for, I would say 15, 20 so students that we've seen come through this year alone. So you see over time, it's a 2.3% increase over the life of the forecast for purchase services. Dr. King, this is your favorite slide, days cash on hand. I always include it. I just want to make it very clear that our March optional forecast was very doom and gloom, as it should have been. This forecast has given us a little bit of more life to be able to govern as a school district for another year and adjust instead of doing it over the rapid 45-day pace we had to do it when we did this in March. We have significantly improved on our days cash on hand from when we did our March optional. So we will be able to make payroll all the way through into probably midway of 2020, fiscal 2027. That's huge. Obviously, we have work to do in the out years of the forecast, but we will do that, and that's what time buys us. So that's the important thing, that our administrative team has put together a sustainable plan to be able to restructure our district to do so. Now, the state legislature has attacked our school district singled us out. They say, your scores, academic scores, are not great compared to how much you're spending per pupil. They don't understand that when enrollment drops and revenue stays flat, your per pupil is going to increase. Not only that, but let's look at 24 and 25. You see that $2,000 increase between mid-2023 to about mid-2024. We closed out our ESSER funds. If you guys remember, 2024, fiscal 24, we had $16.1 million in one use it or lose it time dollars called ESSER. And we spent every dollar of that and had a beautiful off-ramp as a school district, one of the few in the state that did that. But the state legislature will say you spend too much per pupil for what you're getting, and that's just not the case. And our story is that our enrollment is driving this graph, this number specifically. It has nothing to do with the academic outcome of our students. It is simply data and numbers. I like to throw a slide in there. Daily cost per pupil, $114 a day for 8 to 9 hours. We are able to educate a student, feed them, educate them, transport them for $114 a day, based on 180 days in a school year. Majority of this expenditure report comes from state and federal dollars. 27% comes from residential property owners' portion. Does not include business taxes. Less than 30% comes from our Class 1 property taxpayers. We are fantastic at managing the limited resources we have, and I'm proud to say that in this school district. We do a nice job of that. But there is trouble on the horizon, as we can see, and we know this. This is why we did this in March, this is why we're doing this now. You can see our revenue in black, expenditures in gray. Orange is our renewal levies. The county will readjust our millage for the next 3 years. We understand this. How do we deal with it? We have to A, pass our renewal levy, B, look at our expenditures, because we will be deficit spending in 2027, and C, look at how we can be financially sustainable with or without the community's support moving forward. And that's the job that we have to do as an administrative team for the Board of Education and the community at whole. And finally, just a quick short summary. I would like you to look at the line that says equals revenue surplus or deficit in fiscal year 2026. Important to note that when we did this exact exercise in March, this was a negative, I think, $4 million. It's a positive 262,402. We take this very seriously. We spent 35 days looking at everything we can to get our school district to function as a normal school district in fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27. We have a lot of work to do because, again, the deficit spending returns in 27 if we do not pass those renewal levies. But this is something that we have time to address, and we need to do it with a serious notion like we have for the past 35 days to get us into a sustainable situation and not make this district an example that the state needs moving forward. So with that, I will take any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Oko, for your thorough forecast as always. Are there any questions for Mr. Oko?
I do. What are the chances of state fully funding?
So the chance of the state fully funding with a supermajority Republican Congress is probably zero, realistically. The Fair School Funding Plan is written into House Bill 96, and then the line below it says the Department of Education and Workforce may not expend any money against the Fair School Funding Plan. They're going to strip public schools and districts like ours of roughly $800 million over the biennium. And what they're going to do is they're going to give us a formula that is a guarantee, a fiscal year 25 guarantee, right? We're not going to get any money, any less money than we got this year, but over the life of the formula, it's not a formula anymore. Over the life of whatever they want to give us, they will directly reduce any enrollment we have and directly reduce any of the targeted assistance that we get. We're one of 38 that get supplemental targeted assistance. They're wiping that out. $600,000 off the table. They will put us on a formula. They will put us on a guarantee back to 2020, and then they will reduce the guarantee off the new formula. So they'll give us an increase in year one, and then we will get nothing for the next 10 years, as it was between 2011 and I think the Fair School Funding Plan was passed in 2018. This is serious business for us. We are the exact school district that they look to attack. They use urbans as the group of schools that are ruining public education, when in reality, we have to be some of the most strict with our finances because it's so limited. We would get $8.4 million if the Fair School Funding Plan was actually fully phased in and used, if it was as written in law. But we're only going to get $200,000 over the life of the biennium. That's $262,000 right there. That goes by like that. That's 2 people in the school district, salaries and benefits. It's a good question, but from what we've heard, no.
Any other questions for Mr. Oko? Madam President. Mrs. Daniels?
Thank you. As we're looking at the decrease in enrollment and just looking at it starting in 2020, has the backpack bill and the increase in vouchers made an impact on our enrollment decreasing, or is it something internal factors?
I would say vouchers destroy urban public schools. They are hitting us as hard as any in the state. I would say they were hitting us hard back when it was just ed choice, but ed choice expansion has allowed parochial schools to further expand their facilities. The voucher is one thing, but the facility money that comes with it, because a lot of these schools don't have the capacity, but now they do. And what they do now is they will feed off of public schools, and they will affect us like you see here in 2020, out of COVID, all the way through now. And the sad thing is that a lot of these children will take the voucher in urban schools, and then they will come back in, and they will be farther behind when we get them back. And it's just data. I'm speaking in data terms to you. Yes, it hurts us. Vouchers hurt our school district.
I have one question. Yes, thank you, Mr. Oko. I know that the City of Garfield Heights have extensive plans for expanding and growing the economic development of the city. And so when you talked about us we're getting
majority of our revenue from homeowners, tax base. With the city, with the fruition of their plans to expand economic development, will that impact the revenue that we're getting in from the community tax base and kind of relieve some of that stress off of the homeowners to support the school district? Or what do we get from businesses, and just like the jail is coming in? Do the school district get a share of that income tax? Like, where do we stand as a school district as we're seeing these things, as things come into our city?
So for a normal corporation to come in, yes, it significantly helps. If you had a big manufacturer come in down there at Highland Park Square or something like that, it would take some of the relief off of the residential taxpayer because it's spread, right? You're increasing your tax base, which means that the millage rates will drop to bring that online. As for the county complex, the district will see nothing in property taxes from that. The county has been very firm that they're going to move that to the tax exempt duplicate the second that it makes its way over through council. Dr. Reynolds and I have been very vocal with the county about that for over a year now, about how it is taking 77 or so acres off of the duplicate for Garfield Heights. So what does that mean for our residential taxpayers? If you take property off of it, taxes will increase for the taxpayers because there's less land to tax. And we get nothing, but the city gets payroll taxes. And we need to be very clear about that. So school district gets nothing, city gets payroll taxes, taxpayers pay more. That's the formula. And then of course, if there's any abatements, TIF projects, CRAs, that could affect our bottom line with property taxes as well. As the city just passed their zoning issue, which would effectively let them rezone into mixed use, which the board would have to have the authority to approve any abatements, CRAs, TIFs, anything of that sort. So to answer your question, it's great if businesses come in and invest in the city. It's not great when the county takes 77 acres off the duplicate. The school district gets nothing for a new jail. That's about as political as
We've even tried to negotiate services, because once we got the word that we were getting nothing, at least if it's a campus that's going to serve folks for mental health issues as well, allow some of the services to be provided not only for our students or even just for the community as well. That's still in the air. We're hopeful that the county will allow those things to happen, but we're always fighting. We're always fighting to ensure that not only just the school district, but the community is just made whole in these situations.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Oko? Again, thank you, Mr. Oko, very thorough and transparent, so thank you very much.
Thank you, yes, thank you all.
All right, so I'll wait for Mr. Oko to finish up. So back to 9.2, that motion was made by Ms. Cox and second by Mrs. Daniels. Could I get roll call?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. Now for 9.3, a resolution, resolution 2025-19, approving the precaution written plan workbook and narrative addressing projected deficits pursuant to the ODEW notification letter dated April 16th, 2025. Could I get a motion to approve resolution 2519 as presented?
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. Morrison. Is there any discussion?
Madam President? Oh, go ahead.
No, you.
No, I just want to thank you and Dr. Reynolds for just coming up with such a comprehensive plan to ensure that we can continue to serve our students with the resources that we have. This was phenomenal, so thank you guys.
Anything you wanna highlight, Mr. Oko?
Yeah, so again, we're submitting this as part of the forecast, as part of our assumptions. Significantly better outlook. From what it looks like, the state is not going to move forward, putting us in fiscal caution, which is fantastic. It's a huge win for us. And then, it's not official yet, we're gonna wait until they approve it, but, I know. But they will be monitoring us, because the state is worried about the status of our levy. So they will be working with us, but statutorily, we have met the criteria needed for this, and this is what we have to prove and put forth with our forecast, so. We don't want to clap too soon yet.
Just good work. I mean, you guys.
All right.
All right, so that was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. Morrison. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes, and again, thank you for your hard work and dedication on this project. I know it was a long 35 days, but thank you very much for the hard work that you put into it. All right, so we have 9.4, transfer resolution 2025-20. Could I get a motion to approve resolution 2025-20?
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Cox and seconded by Mrs. Daniels. Mr. Oko, anything you want to share?
Yeah, so there was about a 6 or 7 year fiscal plan to kind of clean up some of the grant funds that were overexpended in prior fiscal years. Part of the state's criteria to move forward with the fiscal precaution plan was to do that as soon as we could. So we're going to address that in May and in June, and hopefully clean this up for good and move forward with that. But this is a one resolution for a transfer. You'll see another one next month as well when we clean up the fiscal year.
All right, any questions for Mr. Oko? If not, that was moved by Ms. Cox and seconded by Mrs. Daniels. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas? Dr. King?
Yes. 9.5, resolution 2025-24 to establish a 035 severance fund. Could I get a motion to approve resolution 2025-24 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
That was moved by Mrs. Daniels and seconded by Ms. Thomas. Is there a discussion?
Yes, quickly, so 035 severance fund will be used with transfers from the general fund every year to cover only severance payouts or any vacation payout for administrators if applicable. So some of the things that we've seen is that our employees want to see the money for severance. This is the way to do it. So we can specifically say that we're moving the full severance cost per year for employees that's taken out of the general fund, so we can see a more accurate picture of what's in our general fund. Also, if the state implements a 30% cash balance and we start getting close to that, we have established a severance fund, so if they start looking at transfers, we have a reason why we're transferring it.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Oko? Hearing none, that was moved by Mrs. Daniels and seconded by Ms. Thomas. Could I get roll call, please?
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. 10.1, resolution 2025-23 to support the Fair School Funding Plan. This is a resolution in support of fully funding the Fair School Plan.
Did you know 1 in 3 adults
Could I
have trouble
Get a
focusing?
motion to recommend the board approving resolution 2025-23.
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Cox and seconded by Ms. Morrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. Could I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 11.1 through um, 15.1?
So moved.
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Morrison and seconded by Ms. Cox. Any discussion? Again, here I would like to thank all of our retiring staff for their dedication and hard work and to the district. And again, I want to give them a round of applause. Thank you very much and enjoy your retirement. Any other discussion? Hearing none, that was moved by Ms. Morrison and seconded by Ms. Cox. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas? Dr. King?
Yes. Could I get a motion to approve the supplemental contracts as presented in 16.1?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Daniels, Mrs. Daniels, and seconded by Ms. Morrison. Is there any discussion? Could I get roll call, please?
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. Next, could I get a recommendation to approve we don't have any policy items, but we do have our second reading. Can I get a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of, our policies?
So moved.
That was moved by Ms. Cox and seconded by Ms. Thomas. Is there any discussion? Ms. Thomas?
Is this agenda item 17.2?
Yes. And it should just be 117.2. Is there any other discussion? One thing I would just like to remind the policy committees to make sure that we're adding and workforce, Ohio Department of Education and workforce, because I still see that it's just ODEs, so we want to make sure it's ODEW, or where it's written out that we add workforce. Any other comments or questions? All right.
Madam President,
Yes, Mrs. Daniels?
those type of, entries like adding workforce, where might be the responsibility of our,
Neola?
yes.
It's in some spots and not in others, so it's just not consistent throughout all of the policies from my review.
Madam President, you know what? Some of the ones that say ODE and without the workforce, they might be policies from before it was Department of Education or Workforce
That we have to approve.
that we have to approve.
Get to the new one.
Got it.
Yes, we'll make sure, and Neola, we'll make sure Neola can designate which ones are which,
Okay.
but that could be the reason why it's not showing up there too.
Thank you.
At least with the bill, I forgot about that.
Any other questions, comments?
So for clarification, Neola should send you guys, drafts with that appropriate language if it's not there, I mean, okay.
Yes, because we do have a number of policies that are from
the last few years.
Mhm.
So that could be it.
All right, if there's no other discussion, that was moved by Ms. Cox and second by Ms. Thomas. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels.
Yes.
Ms. Morrison.
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes. Could I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 18.1 through 18.7?
So moved.
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Cox and second by Ms. Morrison. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Mrs. Daniels?
just have a question for Mr. Oko.
Yes.
Majority of contracts here that we're approving, are these some of those services that you shared with us that kind of takes us a little bit over in our budget? That's going out to outside providers to support
Yeah.
the implementation of IEPs for our students?
Yeah, they are, and I would say the majority of these are ones you see every year. They're just services that we're renewing. It's that time of year, but I would say we probably this year and next year will call on these services a little bit more for extra services as we, have to look at the capacity for which we can serve our students and the needs and the resources we have. So yes, I would say yes. These are for those extra costs, and then also, this is something that we've been doing for a few years now. But that is the largest group in the purchase services that we expend out of from our special ed contractors.
Also, could that be, and I'm just, as you was discussing that earlier and stating that the costs have increased over the years, could that just be an indicator that we're ensuring that we're servicing our students with exceptional needs at a higher rate and more intentional about that service versus just having some kids fall through the gap because of financial reasons, but we're actually ensuring that our students' needs are being met in the district a little bit more, even though it's at a significant cost, of course, but I know that we've done a lot of work around that as a district with diesel and things of that sort. Is that possibly just impacting the increase?
I would say yes, from a strictly financial situation, absolutely. If we're being compliant with what we have to do for our students, then yes, we will expend the resources. Again, Mr. Forte is not in the audience, so I can't speak to, the programming he's done. But I will tell you the conversations which I have financially, he is being compliant, and we are attempting to address every need of every student that we can, which is what we're sworn to do here.
Yeah, when we have new students, we also inherit their IEPs as well. So if it's transportation involved in that, we have to adhere to that. We've gotten a lot of that, whether it is transportation or it is placement, a different placement. Those are things that we inherit, but as in the students that we're serving, yeah, we're going to make sure that we are providing them, that we identify some things. Yes, we're going to make sure that we are serving those children, but a lot of the expenses have come from outside placement of students, and that we, in some cases, I've never met the student. We've never met the student. Just kind of, we inherit the situation and we respond accordingly, just to ensure that the child is receiving the services that they deserve to have.
Thank you.
I also would like to say that our staff in district do a fantastic job at limiting the outside costs. Our intervention specialists, our psychologists on staff are fantastic when it comes to taking on the course load and making sure that they're stretched thin. But financially, if we didn't have the group that we have, we would be spending much more on purchase services for special education that we are. So it's kudos to them in district, but as all urbans are, we are understaffed and under-resourced. But I just want to make that clear when we talk about internal versus purchase service. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions? comments? All right, so that was moved by Ms. Cox and seconded by Ms. Morrison. Could I get roll call?
Ms. Cox,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes. 18.8, a resolution determining to submit to the electors of the school district the question of the renewal of an existing tax levy pursuant to section 5705.03 and 5705.194 to 5705.197 of the revised code. Could I get a motion to approve resolution 2025-25?
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Thomas and seconded by Mrs. Daniels. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Ms. Thomas?
a quick question. May you remind us the approximate cost to put a levy on the ballot?
So for a November primary, it'll roughly cost us between $25,000 to $30,000. A May primary, like we just had, is between $50,000 and $60,000. If we're the only ballot issue on there, expensive to put on. The least impactful are presidentials because we're not the presidential, obviously, issue is on there. But non-presidential primaries and primaries are the most expensive.
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you.
I do have a comment as well.
Yes.
The school district has done an excellent job with making sure that we're only talking about the facts. And if you put out information about the facts of the matter, the facts that it is a no tax levy, there's no tax increase at all. But we want the community to understand every aspect of this. That's why we go out into the community, give the information, we send out information, we put things on our website. We want to be as transparent as possible, as you've seen with the presentations tonight. We're giving all the information. There's nothing that we're hiding. All we want to do is serve kids. That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to build all types of facilities all over the place. That's not what this is about. We're trying to make sure that we're able to maintain the forward progress that we've been making as a school district. But we will need the help of the community to understand what the facts of these things are. So we'll continue to put out the information, put all the facts, have opportunities to discuss whether there are questions or not. But everything that we've done has been straightforward and straight to the point, giving factual information, and we'll continue to do that as well.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. You and your team did a great job with getting out into the community as well as other volunteers, and so we want to thank you for that, and we will continue the good fight. Any other questions or comments?
Madam President,
Mrs. Daniels?
I just think it's very important, first, I would like to thank those that did go out and vote for the levy, even the yes and the no's, because it is a democracy. So it's very important to acknowledge, but I do appreciate the support, just as a parent of the district. But, I must say, I was just a little frustrated, and I think it's just very important that, and I'm just speaking as a parent, that us as parents, that we bring our kids to the school district every day and rely on the school district to educate our children and prepare them for the future. We have to get involved and take a stance. It is free public education, and if all you have to do to ensure that your children get what they need, show up somewhere one time, only take you 5 minutes, just so your kid can have somewhere where they eat every day for free, they learn for free, they are well taken care of. If you need food, we pass that out. If they need health care, they got a little bus that they can go jump on and do that. If we do so much for the community, but more so for our children, and at some point, we're just gonna need our parents to engage. We're not asking a lot. We're not asking a lot for all that we get. Just for you to participate so that we can continue to do the things that we do for your children every day. And that is just maybe wrong or right, but that is just where I'm at on it. And I'm just really encouraging parents, because some parents may not know what the importance of their civic engagement is, but it is vital. These are our kids, and we cannot sit back and wait for someone else to educate and take care of our kids and make sure they have what they need. We need the parents along with the community to partner. We cannot expect the community to do what parents also should be joining and partnering with the district and the community to do. So I just want to say that, and I'm sorry if it was off the mark, but that's just where I'm at with this, because I care about our kids getting what they need every day here in the school district. It's important, it's vital, it's critical.
Thank you, Mrs. Daniels. Any other questions or comments?
Madam President,
Ms. Cox?
with the presentation that we heard from HR and the financial presentation, when will the community know we've talked in I don't want to say macro, but when will the community and the parents know the effects of our lean steps in trying to keep the doors open? When will, I guess I should
Yes,
address that question
I
too.
can definitely respond to that. After we go through this process, our job now is to give the information of the heavy cuts that will take place if we are unable to pass a levy. That is factual information, because that is actually what we have also included in our plan as well. If this, then, that is actually a part of our plan. So there will be heavy cuts. We're looking at some things that the community will probably be a little shocked, but they are necessary cuts in order to maintain our school district. And I am very, very hopeful that they'll understand that these facts that we're giving are actual. There's not anything that we're giving as opinion. They're all facts and by the numbers. So there's some substantial cuts that we'll have to make that will impact the community if we are unable to move forward with or gain the support of our families or gain support of this community. So we will be releasing a list of the areas of cuts that will occur. We'll list the things that we've already cut to make the adjustments so that the 5-year plan looks the way it looks now. But we'll also include that information of exactly what we're going to do. We don't want anything to be a surprise to anyone. So we will be sharing that, as we've always shared, with that level of transparency that we're always talking about. We will be sharing that information, but there will be substantial cuts if we're unable to do those things.
One more question. We shared that list before the last levy. Are there any cuts or any changes that will be made from the last levy to this one?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's it.
Any other questions or comments?
Are there some cuts that's gonna potentially happen just as we're preparing prior to the ballot? Because, do we now start preparing for the no, so it's not a hard drop for services and students come November? Are we gonna start staggering some cuts now just in preparation for that, and then have the opportunity to restore later? Or are we just gonna sustain and just make these hard cuts right at one time?
That's a part of what Ms. Pettigrew was explaining, that the fact that all the positions that we're losing, when folks make other decisions, we will not be filling those positions outside of our intervention specialists. That is an area that we have to ensure that our special ed students with IEPs are able to be served appropriately. But that is the first step right now in not replacing all of those positions. There are some additional areas that we're also going to be cutting as well. That's happening, the process is happening now. So those things are happening. What we're doing right now is trying to ensure that we are not cutting so deeply that it impacts our kids in the classroom. That's what we're doing. But the next level cuts, I am unsure, because they'll be substantial. So I'm very hopeful that we are able to do a much better job. I thought that we did a great job, but I'm confident that we'll do a much better job in getting this information out consistently. We plan on doing these coffee conversations every month next year, just to make sure any information even outside of the levy push, that we're actually in front of the community and asking questions. Various locations. I know there was a question about us being in one location, which was a great idea at the beginning, and we saw that we probably need to spread out just a little bit to make it convenient for everyone in the community. So we'll be taking those into as a part of the plan as well. But we will be sharing every bit of this. There will be no surprises. We're going to put all the information out as we've always done, and I'm very hopeful that our community will support our children. I'm not even talking about supporting us as the adults. I'm talking about supporting our children, because these things will impact children. Right now, the cuts that we made, as I said a little bit earlier, if we're able to sustain the forward movement that we've experienced right now, but I'm unsure how that will be adjusted if we're unable to gain community support.
Thank you. Madam President, can I ask Dr. Reynolds one question?
Yes.
Regarding your coffee and conversations, is there opportunities to do some of those sessions where it's more accessible to working parents and working families? Because I think that was one of the big barriers parents was having challenges engaging in those.
Yes, there will be flexibility in that. I want it to be in front of everyone. I want to be in front of everyone who has questions. Now, sometimes we get into these situations where folks just want to prove a point. We really don't have time for folks to come out and prove a point. We just have time to come out and give you the information so that you can make a choice the way you need to make a choice. That is an issue in this community right now, if I'm going to be just totally transparent, is that we get into conversations that are totally off of what's best for kids. I don't have time for those conversations. If you have conversations about how this is impacting the community, what we're planning on doing, how we're going to respond to the needs of the children in this community, those are the conversations I'm very, very open to having, even the tough ones. But when people are showing up just to prove a point, I don't have time for that, because that is a distraction, and distracted people do what they do, distract people. And that is something I just don't have time for. I'm in the business of children, and that's all I've ever done, and that's where my focus will be moving forward. But I am truly open to answer any questions about children, what we can do to help children and families, but we don't have time to be distracted.
All right, hearing no further discussion, that was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Mrs. Daniels. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels,
Yes.
Ms. Cox,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes. All right, could I get a motion to move away the reading of 18.9
So moved.
up through
Oh.
19.3?
So moved.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
That's okay.
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Mrs. Daniels. Are there any discussion?
Madam President,
Ms. Thomas?
quick question. May you tell us about these new high school classes?
Good evening. So we have 3 exciting new programs, or courses we're going to be offering. The first is our African American Literature course that will be for our 12th grade students. Ms. Carla Saunders will be teaching that. We're very excited to offer that to our students. And with the agriculture team, we have 2 new programs, Introduction to Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources, and our Animal and Plant Science courses for CTE. So again, some exciting things happening at the high school for next year. Any further questions that I can answer about those classes?
The African American Lit course, is it a regular high school course or is it a CCP course?
It's a regular high school class at this point in time, yes. And we're also going to be offering CCP classes in English for creative writing, 2nd semester. We're just finishing up the work on that one. So very exciting. Great things happening.
Thank you very much to you and your team.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Mrs. Daniels. Could I get roll call?
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. We didn't have any, public remarks in regards to miscellaneous school items. Is there any comments on the public participation for IDEA-B funds? Hearing none, we'll move on to, the announcement of our next school board meetings. We will have our, special board meeting work session on June 9th at 6 p.m. And we will have our regularly scheduled board meeting on June 16th at 6 p.m., both here at the school board office. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting at 8:56.
So moved.
Second. That was moved by Ms. Cox and seconded by Mrs. Daniels. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.